to hit this prop. Still 13:23 left in the football game. Let's bring in Mick Aussie right now, who's probably still raging and recovering after yesterday's tough loss. I got to tell you. And listen, if anyone's a sports fan, we've all had brutal losses for our teams, but the emotion of that game to to potentially beat the Kansas City Chiefs, and what a statement win it would have been for the Broncos. And it really would have helped out the Buffalo Bills because it would have given the Chiefs a loss. They're going to Buffalo this week. Suddenly the Bills could have potentially gotten the home field advantage and a 1 seed, but no. And they got too safe at the end, Mick, right?
Yeah.
They settled for too long of a field goal. They could have just kept running the ball and sort of getting it closer and closer. And they sort of got complacent. Like, oh, yeah, we won the game. We're about to kick a field goal. They didn't block. The trajectory wasn't high enough. It was just an all-around meltdown and disaster. And especially to those son of a bitch Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh. Well, I only normally wear the Broncos jersey when we win, but I was pretty proud of them yesterday to get so close. And like you said, that was a great last drive. Bo Nixon, Sutton and the boys played really well, but like you said, Luke Wilson said that the trajectory was too low. Now, I was really upset. Absolutely I was. But field goal is never a gimme, so it's their own fault. You got to put it through to win, so I can't be too mad. But everyone knows that the refs and the NFL, Goodell, want KC to win. There wasn't too much favoritism yesterday, but some weeks there is with Mahomes getting all the calls. So we couldn't do it, but I hope your Bills absolutely beat them this Sunday. I would love that. 9-0, mate. They're very, very lucky. But, hey, we didn't kick the field goal, so we can't complain,
The Buffalo Bills opened up as 2-point favorites in the game. It's 2.5 right now. Interesting, too, because it's been announced Keon Coleman won't play for the Bills. And we don't know about Amari Cooper, but I think Cooper will end up playing personally. Mick, we got a big one this week between you and Matthias. The Atlanta Falcons go to the Mile High City to take on the Denver Broncos. And you know what's crazy, guys? Even with the loss yesterday to Denver, if the playoffs started today, the Denver Broncos are in the playoffs, Mick, which is pretty wild. It's pretty crazy. Like, the AFC is good at the top, right? You got KC, Buffalo, Pittsburgh are playing really good, Baltimore, etc. There's some really good teams, but the back end is pretty soft. Like, so look, like you got 7 playoff spots now, and the Broncos are hanging on to the last one at 5-5. The Colts are 4-6, and the Colts have announced they're sticking with Joe Flacco. They're kind of spinning their wheels. I don't believe in them. And then you got the Cincinnati Bengals at 4-6. So, I kind of believe, Mick, that the Bengals will make the playoffs and your Broncos won't make the playoffs. But we talked about the Broncos schedule, man, and it's pretty manageable for them. Versus the Falcons, at the Raiders. They host the Cleveland Browns. They host the Indianapolis Colts. They go to L.A. to take the Chargers on. They have to go to Cincinnati, and then they host the Chiefs in the last game of the year. But it's a manageable schedule.
Yeah, those first 4 definitely are winnable. I told you, some people were raving on Frill show how great Joe Flacco is. He's no good. He played good last year. He was terrible at the Broncos. 3 interceptions, I believe, yesterday. So screw Joe Flacco. He's no good. Falcons, they ruined my multi. How could they lose to the Saints? Yeah, we know the new coach. You get a boost with a new coach. But Kirk Cousins, unreliable. I know he's good. Disappointing loss for the Falcons. Terrible. We will beat them in Denver. Absolutely we will. Our defense is good. We come good, mate. We're better than I thought. So I was happy, but then I felt sick 10 minutes later when I saw Russell Wilson leave the Steelers.
Hold on, man.
Think about it. We give you sports gaming strategies and information.
As we're at 29 points. So, Mick, you were talking smack, Matthias. He sounds pretty confident about his Denver Broncos, and your Falcons are a difficult team to figure out, right? They look good one week, for 2 weeks, then you buy into them, and then they're flat again. It is a tough spot to go to Denver and play. And the Broncos, like I said, guys, as crazy as it sounds, pretty crazy, Mick, The Broncos are hanging on to that last playoff spot right now in the AFC.
Well, we got to win this week against the Dirty Birds. I'm dirty. I had a lot of points on the Falcons against the Saints. But like I was saying, I felt so sick 10 minutes later when Russell Wilson led the Steelers to a win, mate. Disgraceful. You and I are on
He hasn't lost yet.
Commanders, mate. Right?
Yeah, I was on the Commanders. It was a screw job. I've lost so many games this year on these wild plays at the end. A couple of weeks ago, I was on the Bears. Washington wins on the Hail Mary. And then, dude, it looked like Washington were going to win the game. And then Russell Wilson hits Mike Williams, of all people, for the touchdown.
Yeah, wild. Well, your mate Pharrell was dissing Mike Williams all week, saying he was no good. I bet you he's not saying that now. But disgusting, mate. Like I said, we're paying for Russell Wilson $48 million. I feel sick every week. Just after we lost, and then that happens. Terrible Sunday, mate. Terrible.
All right, so this Sunday in Vancouver, we've got the Grey Cup. The 111th Grey Cup championship game takes place in Vancouver, 6 o'clock Eastern time, 3 o'clock Pacific. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers back to the Grey Cup once again, their 5th straight appearance, hosting the Toronto Argonauts, a team that beat them in the championship game, upset them 2 years ago, Mick. Yet Chad Kelly gets injured, and Nick Arbuckle will be the starting quarterback for the Toronto Argonauts in this game. The point spread is all the way up to 10.5. It opened up at 8.5, and it was quickly bet up to 10.5. The total is 49.5 in this game. What do you think about the Grey Cup? What's your Grey Cup prediction?
Well, first of all, we could tell Chad Kelly broke his leg. He was in not much pain, but wow, it bent everywhere. I think that the Argos are in big trouble. The media will try and build it up all week. Nick Arbuckle, what did he start at the Argos? Then he was at Calgary. Then he was here for a while. He's a backup quarterback. I would have gone for the Bombers anyway. That 10.5 does not scare me. I'm going to predict something like 38-21. Maybe the Argos get a late touchdown to cover, but 10.5, I think they'll win by 3 touchdowns and take the over. Not a problem there. With Kenny Lawler absolutely on fire, Zach Collaros, the quarterback, and the Winnipeg-born Brady Oliveira probably will win the MVP at running back. They're 2 star-studded, mate. I think the Bombers will destroy them, but I hope I'm wrong. Even though I picked the Argos, once Kelly went down, I wanted the Alouettes to win, so hopefully we get a close Grey Cup. I could be wrong, but backup quarterback, nah, can't see it, mate.
Winnipeg are dialed in. That's the thing. You can't dispute it. I was thinking, too, when I was watching Winnipeg play, I was thinking, you know what? I'll bet on Winnipeg in a revenge spot against Toronto, and they're going to beat them. But then Kelly got hurt, and the point spread would have been 3.5, Mick. That's what it was before the injury. So 3.5. Now it's 10.5. Yeah. Like, that's a lot. You know what I mean? That's a big difference. And the thing is, listen, the problem is Toronto's defense isn't very good, right? Like, they kind of trade points. Like, they'll make some plays. They'll come up with a pick 6 now and then. Toronto have very good special teams. Their kick returner, their punt returner has I think he's got 6 touchdowns this year. Like, he's got a million of them. He's really good. So the Argos find ways to sort of put points up on the board, and their offense is really good, but Kelly's out. But the thing, Mick, is I think it's an overreaction personally, even though I think as good as the Bombers are playing, the Argos have a very good ground game. They're one of the few teams in the CFL that can run the ball. Like, most teams in the CFL don't even try to run the ball, but, like, they do. And Kadeem Carey's good. Like, they've got a very good ground game, man. So, like, it could take some pressure off of Arbuckle. They have very good wide receivers. You know, they have a smart coach in Ryan Dinwiddie, who, I think he calls a good game. So I think, 10.5 is a lot, Mick. I hear what you're saying as far as Winnipeg just killing them. But I sort of get the feeling, in a way, you're right, because in the past, I think Winnipeg were too confident. Oh, we're going to win. We won 2 in a row. We're going to win. So, look, they've been to 4 championship games in a row, guys, and they lost the last 2 of them. So, like, you could tell that they're sort of, like, they got an extra edge about them this year about not screwing it up, which is a little bit of a concern. But, man, you know this, Mick, most Grey Cups end up being pretty close. There's not a lot of blowouts in the Grey Cup.
Well, that's it. You get a couple of turnovers and a couple of mistakes and interceptions, and the CFL, it can change. Look out there in Toronto when I think it was Ottawa beat Calgary. Like, no one expected that. So, yeah, I hope it's close, mate. I really do. There'll be, 55,000 people, I think, fit in BC Place. I know you're going to go there. Dash will be there. So it'll be a great week. Just hope it's a close game. But, I don't know, tickets might go a bit cheaper now that Kelly's out. People thinking Bombers will win it easily.
Last year, Montreal beat Winnipeg 28-24. The year before, Toronto beat Winnipeg 24-23. The year before that, Winnipeg beat Hamilton 33-25. The year before that, Winnipeg beat Hamilton 33-12. So, so there was, you had a couple of blowouts with Hamilton there, but for the most part, Grey Cups are close. Toronto, Calgary, 27-24. Ottawa, Calgary, 39-33. And generally pretty high scoring too, Mick. I think this game will go over the 49 points.
Yeah, I think so. And a couple of the odds, I mean, if you like Winnipeg to win, I think it will be out of Caleras, Lawler, or Oliveira for the most outstanding player. And they have a most outstanding Canadian player as well. So I think Oliveira might get that as well.
Now, let me see what we have. The Rams are moving the ball right now, but I don't want to even get excited about it because a million times they've been knocking on the door and they haven't scored. But they are on the 10-yard line. They are on the 10-yard line right now. Yeah, hopefully, let me see. Do I have, all right, CFL props. I'm looking for all the sort of things here. CFL and no, you know what? I don't see it yet, Mick. I can't bet MVP and all this type of stuff. I can bet the game, side total, and all this. 10.5, 49.5 right now. Argos are plus 450 on the money line. Thanks, Mick.
All right, and another name will go on this Grey Cup, and thanks to you, mate. You've spread the word of the CFL into the USA more than anyone. Have a great week.
We're relentless. We'll never stop giving you sports gaming strategies and information whenever you want it. We're kind of nutty about it, actually. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.